Today's guests are women entrepreneurs that started their company during the pandemic. They want to tackle one of the most important issues that has arisen during this time, which is well-being. They've built a digital platform to improve self-care. Let's meet Quan founders, Lucia Howie and Arosha Brouwer. Ladies, welcome. It's amazing to have the founders of Quan here today. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi Niels, I'm Arosha. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Quan. I'm a Sri Lankan born Australian. I've been living in the Netherlands for about 15 years now.
Hi Niels, thanks for having us. I'm Lucy, I'm co-founder and CPO, so responsible for the product and tech at Quan. Originally from New Zealand, so a slightly different flavour of accent, and I've been in the Netherlands all up around 4 years.
Yeah. Nice. And tell me about Quan.
Quan's a wellbeing platform designed to help individuals, teams and organisations, and we provide both insights and interventions to make that happen.
So tell me, why did you start the company and where are you now?
Yeah, so prior to founding Quan, there was actually a team of us. We've been researching wellbeing and performance for quite some while. And what we realised was in many high-performance organisations, wellbeing was actually the cost of success. When COVID-19 happened, suddenly wellbeing was no longer what we would call a perk, it became a necessity. But organisations were still grappling with how to actually help people. And I guess the question or the problem that we were seeking to solve was, how can you help individuals thrive? But what kind of context should an organisation provide in order for that to happen?
Yeah, if I build on that a little bit. So the problem we're solving is organisations now, what they offer is there's engagement surveys, which is more management reporting, and then there's wellbeing perks, which are not targeted to needs. So it would be things like yoga classes online or to the other extreme, EAP, employee assistance programs. And what we do is we first understand the area of need from the individual, the team and the org, and then we help organisations understand where they need to put their effort and their investment to help the employees.
Awesome, and how would that work in my case, for example? So I work at a company and then what happens?
Yeah, so first we have a holistic assessment. So we look at all the different aspects of wellbeing. It's actually quite a complicated topic. There's more than 150 dimensions.
Is it just me or is it for everyone?
For everybody.
Yeah.
But I think it's important maybe to start with that, which is that it's a topic that is so important to every single person, and yet so little is actually understood by it. So it actually starts with what is wellbeing. So we start off with an assessment which kind of distills it down to 5 dimensions and 25 sub-dimensions. We ask questions to the effect of stress or sleep, nutrition, all the way to anxiousness. And then we actually measure it on personal life versus work life. So the individual will be able to very quickly see, okay, these are the points of attention for me. And then when you aggregate that up at a team level, the team lead can also see, okay, this is the points of pressure in my team. And when you take that up further notch, the organisation can see, right, these are the pockets which need the most help. Where Quan goes a step further to say engagement surveys is we don't just give the insights, we give the interventions. Because this is around how do you actually change the way of working. So not just here's an app to help you sleep better, but what can we as a team, as an organisation do to help an individual in this space? So that's essentially what we do, the interventions for the individual, the team and the organisation.
So and you help people then, you help managers talk in a language that will actually help them and in that way you get healthy people and I will sleep well and my manager will let me sleep.
Let's say it another way. If the issues were at work and all you did was download Headspace and listen to sleep stories, you wouldn't sleep better, right? So what we're trying to get to is stop looking at wellbeing perks and quick fix solutions. The topic is way more complicated. We need to create self-awareness and awareness on the topic that if we actually want healthier people, we fundamentally need to look at the way we live our lives and the way we create a context for others, right? And that's what we're trying to do. So if there's issues of sleep or if there's issues of stress, look beyond, look a bit deeper to understand what are the actual causes. Don't just give a knee-jerk intervention. Also think about what are the ways we can actually change the way we work. And marrying those two is fundamental if you actually want to create systemic change or lasting change.
Yeah, and if I make it a bit more concrete, so I'm responsible for the product. So what the product does, the individual does an assessment, they get insights, we aggregate them to the team and the organisation insights. And based on that, we deliver targeted interventions from a wellbeing ecosystem. So what Quan offers, what the company offers, what the wellbeing ecosystem offers to help improve the individual, the team and the organisation.
So you're an app store for wellbeing?
More
with a targeted app store? Or?
We first understand the area of need for the individual and the organisation, and then we point them to, it might be apps, it might be internal offerings that the company does, it might be external coaching, for example, that they need to help solve those problems.
Awesome. And so tell me about that journey. How do you end up there and how do you build a product like this? Because it sounds like there's lots of things you need to think about, right?
Yeah. So I can take that. I have a background in products. I was a former CEO of a tech startup that was acquired, and then before this I was an executive at Zalando, where we were building new products for both the 45 million customers and the brands. So what we did is we're really big on design thinking, so build fast, iterate, learn, fail fast. So we built an MVP and launched it in March, and we've to do that, we had over 500 user interviews from experts, from the employees through to managers. So we iterate fast, prototype, test, launch, and that's how we've really achieved product market fit in quite a fast way, actually.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you've learned that by working at Zalando or so?
Yeah.
How do you, this is kind of a side question, but how do you see the Dutch ecosystem and this way of working? Because do you see that happen a lot, and do you find people that are familiar with this kind of working?
Yeah, it's a very familiar way of, for especially people with design backgrounds, although I have heard of quite some companies, for example, that don't do any user testing. I mean, we know there is sort of a competitor of ours who are asking for a lot of money to build the platform and have done no research into the problem space. So that kind of build and they will come mentality, I think, is a bit arrogant. It's very Silicon Valley tech. Mm-hmm. Whereas what we've really made sure we've done is build small, fast, test, understand, and we've learnt so much by doing that. So we really know that what we're building is solving the problem.
And I think the other thing is very early on, for such a young organisation, we have a pretty solid team.
Yeah.
And we brought on a head of people science who has a PhD in performance psychology very, very, very early on. And if you're science-based and you're taking a topic such as well-being, it needs to be holistic. So we actually road tested our framework before we built anything with about 60 therapists and doctors. And we stay close.
So tell me, I always find user testing one of the most interesting and customer development one of the most interesting phases. So tell me a little bit more about, are there things like, what are the craziest things you discovered that you didn't know, right?
So one quite key one, when we started out, our idea, what we would build is we would first do an assessment and then match individuals to coaches. That was the original plan. That's what we originally built. What we discovered through user testing is a lot of individuals don't want to talk to a coach. Mm-hmm. It's too daunting for them. And B, the companies, our customers, don't want to pay for it. So that fundamentally changed our direction to make sure it was something that was valued and needed.
Which probably explains why, on average, wellbeing perks adoption rate sits between 15 and 25%.
And how does it work? Because it's a very interesting. I think it's interesting. So what you're saying is, so people don't want to talk to a coach, are you saying that you found an alternative to a coach? Or
Yeah.
is it,
Well, yeah, that's a good point. So some people do, but not enough, and not that early in the journey. People want to be able to help themselves and understand where they need to go. And what we have built is we're trying to replicate a bit what a coach would do via the platform.
And it's always a case of going to a psychologist or a coach in many cultures is actually a big thing. And now we have international aspirations. Our team, since inception, has been spread across, I think, 6 countries. We've got to realise that, right? So mental health is quite recognised in the Netherlands, but that's not the case everywhere else. Our head of people science is based in the UK. You can start with small nudges. You can start with, how do you take time to, think through your issues, and that's actually what a psychologist will tell you, but you don't need to speak to a psychologist to get that advice. So we've also tried, beyond just pointing people to interventions, also give little exercise that they can do in the comfort from their mobile phone, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
And as we build, we will do more of that. We will, as we get more data, we will build more smart algorithms that will improve that kind of helping individuals through the journey as a coach or a therapist would.
So where are you now? So if you launch your product and what does that mean now?
Yeah.
So after the launch, where are you?
Yeah, so I'll start. Maybe Arusha could do all the more commercial side. Where we are, so we launched. We've got customers that are now annual recurring, which is fantastic. So it means we've got a product market fit. We started, another key thing we learned is we wanted to start just with the individual, but we quickly learned that if someone is feeling stressed, and we measure both personal life and work life, if they're being stressed because of conflict with leadership or because of there's a misalignment with purpose at work, anything we do with the individual, it's not going to help. So we learned we actually also have to offer interventions or coaching at the team and the organisation level. So that's where we've started, is assessing the individual need, aggregating it with team and org, and then helping from a team level and an organisation level, because unless those contexts are right, it's not going to improve the individual's well-being. And that was a key learning. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Absolutely. And I think our engagement rate is about 92%, which is quite high in this space. And the reason for that is, beyond just giving the individual insights, we're actually trying to tie it all together by helping the team. You see, the work gets done at a team level, right? At an organisational level, it's about creating optionality for the teams to pick and choose, and we're trying to basically foster that. For the organisation to provide the right options for the team to select the best for them. And that's perhaps why we've got 92%, and a lot of team leads basically coming out and saying to us, you've not only given us the language for us to have better one-on-ones, you're creating a safe space for topics which I wouldn't have been able to bring. And my team are now being forthcoming with, okay, maybe we could change this, maybe we could change that. And our mission is to place well-being at the heart of success, right? We have backgrounds in strategy consulting. We know how companies measure success. If you don't measure something, you can't manage it. So next to those financial KPIs that Lucy and I have probably devised for a lot of companies, we'd like to see a well-being index. That's fundamentally what we're in the game to do.
Awesome. And how far along are you? So when are we going to see that?
We've developed the Wellbeing Index, and there's a couple of organisations we're working with, including ourselves, that use it. We track quarterly how we're tracking. So beyond how many customers we're hitting, how many user testing, I'm also tracking the well-being of my team. It's critical for success. And I hope that more organisations do that. I hope that employee engagement scores, which quite frankly don't mean much to me, is replaced with something more holistic, like a Wellbeing Index, that we're starting to look at how we treat people in the process of trying to achieve success, whatever that may be for the organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess so your tool has multiple purposes, but one of them should also be that the retainment of personnel should be higher if people are happy, right?
Exactly. And there was a recent study, I think Arusha have the details, that 80% of employees would move to a company where wellbeing was a number one topic. So it's a topic with the burning platform of COVID, means it really matters as well for employee experience and retention and attraction,
And
as well as performance.
That's right. And earlier this year, ING published a report on their ESGs, and employee wellbeing was now number one. It was shared with, I think, 99 other organisations. COVID has shown that this is no longer a fluffy perk. This is no longer something which is, how many weeks off are we going to give people to tackle burnout? If you're not actually looking at fundamentally how are we supporting people and how are we ensuring that we're preventing people from burning out, you can't then stand behind our organisation is for the best talent out there. It simply isn't the case. Money alone is not enough. And millennials, sure, they're not going to put up with it.
And maybe to leave the company a little bit behind, but zoom a little bit on The Hague and why you're here, right? So how do you said you had a team of people working all across the world or Europe, and so but you're here in The Hague,
and we have customers in New Zealand and Australia.
Yes, exactly, and the US. No, so fundamentally we incorporated in The Hague. I'm a very proud citizen of The Hague for 15 years, but it was serendipity. We're an impact-led startup. I think this is a fantastic place for impact-led startups. We don't just talk about social challenges. You just look around us, institutions that are here, we're committed to the cause. The Hague has also brought us in contact with a great ecosystem of partners, and people champion each other's work. And within a short period of time, just from organisations like the Hague Partners recognising what we're doing, they've just opened doors. And yeah, it's gaining credibility and stories in the market, which are also being picked up internationally for us. So we're very, very grateful.
Yeah, and from a sort of user testing product point of view, The Hague is really a sort of centre of people that are international, multicultural, social-minded, which is great and professionals for user testing.
That's right.
And from a startup point of view, I mean, I've lived in around 10 cities across the world. I've been in different startup hubs, and The Hague's been so collaborative and supportive. There's no barriers to, everyone wants you to succeed, and you really feel that, and I think that's quite special about The Hague.
Can you, that's very interesting, but can you maybe like you've been in other places, how would you say it compares, right? So,
I think especially around tech startups, there's a sense of, I don't want to say arrogance, but there is, and it's more of a competitive environment, and hard, especially in terms of investment and things like this. It's hard to crack unless you're really in the network, and especially with tech, it's often.
You're in tech.
Yes.
You've been in tech. You have that network, right? But still, you decided to kind of to get out, and then why The Hague, right? What's so interesting about The Hague or the Netherlands?
I think also, look, we've spoken to loads of investors as well, and you've got to remember that our mission is to place wellbeing at the heart of success. So when we're outlining our growth targets, it is about impacting lives, and not so much on how much revenue we intend on making. I must say that we've speaking with an investor at the moment, and some of the ones that are based here, which are impact-led, they just understand more of what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. We need a values match, and that seems to happen a lot more frequently with the organisations we talk to here. Yeah. And we've also struck up a few partnerships here. One with the Hague Tech. And the founders and the support that we're getting from this small community is just fantastic. So much so that we're now looking to replicate it in other cities.
Awesome. And so you're doing a city by city growth.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, and I think the way that we're basically offering it is, use this platform to garner insights about how different startups or scale-ups are performing, and then as a co-working, provide more targeted events and information to support those startups and scale-ups. You see, any founder will tell you the number one issue, once they've got investment, is around team. Right? Because you work so hard to bring on this wonderful talent, you want to keep them. And we've established a way on how you can do that. And so a lot of startups and scale-ups really want to use Quan. So if we can then partner with the right kind of organisations, whether it's a co-working space or an accelerator, to use the platform to support the community, in essence, we're helping young organisations put wellbeing at the heart of success from the very beginning.
Awesome, awesome. And then...
But I would describe us as, we've been global from the beginning.
Right.
Our team's global. I mean, we started during the pandemic, so we didn't even meet each other until a couple of months ago, almost a year in.
Yeah, yeah.
And our customers have already been global as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you bring so much speed to this whole process, right? So how do you, and is the Hague in any way contributing to that speed and to that you know, how can you do stuff so fast? If there's people from big companies watching, they're like, you know, in a year maybe we did some first customer development and that's all we done by now, right? So how come you do it so fast and so different?
Look, we've had to use remote technology. That is the truth. Laser focus, and I think we, you know, iterative and pivoting on the fly has been extremely important. Also, we have a group of experts, so it just means that when you have such an amazing group of elite professionals, you do work a lot faster. Since sort of moving into the co-working space at THT, and since we're now having more face time with customers, you know, deals are closing quicker, partnerships we're closed a lot quicker. That is definitely helping now.
Yeah, it's given us a home.
That's right.
Actually.
Yeah.
And a lot of our customers now are in the Hague Tech or surrounded by the Hague as well. So it's been amazing to now land somewhere, because we've been virtual this whole time.
Yeah.
Give us a home, and they've welcomed us and supported us, which has been really great.
And tell me a little bit more about kind of the private side of being an entrepreneur in the Netherlands and in The Hague, right? So how do you feel like, you know, you've been here for 15 years?
Yeah.
You both come from literally the other side of the world.
Yes.
So you know, you somehow end up here and then you become an entrepreneur, which are like all sorts of very big steps. And you know, how did it work and why did you do that? And
so maybe I'll take that as the Hague citizen. So, you know, prior to moving to The Hague, yes, I'm a Sri Lankan born Australian, proud of both countries. You know, walked into a shop, fell in love with the guy behind the counter, who is now my partner in crime. We have 2 children. And my background is in strategy consulting, but I've also worked for some big brands in the Netherlands like DSM and TNT. What The Hague, you know, just in Dutch culture, let's look at it. I love, you know, lots of people talk about work-life balance. In the Netherlands, we truly support it. And, you know, that has made it so easy to not only be a professional, but also an entrepreneur. My husband has a shop, so he's also a business person. But we have a lot of support, and also there's a lot here in this city to support families. So I've got 2 young children. There's loads of activities. The schooling system is great. There's lots of expat families. There's lots of mixed families, which is really important. When you have one Dutch parent and one non-Dutch parent, culturally we're a little bit mixed, right? And there are so many of those families. And also the fact that, yes, I can speak a little bit of Dutch, but English is widely spoken, and that is such a huge plus. So from just the culture and the support, whether you're a professional or whether you're an entrepreneur, the different types of cultures, all of this adds to, you can not only build a business here, you will also enjoy living here, which is, I think, very important.
Absolutely. It's very well put, and Do you have anything to add, or was this was the?
Yeah, from the Hague side of things, but in terms of our personal journey to doing what we're doing, because it's hard to be a startup founder. I'm extremely grateful I have Arusha to do it with. I mean, we're a bit of the yin and yang. Arusha's really laser focused on excellent delivery and sales and commercial. I'm really focused on the product and the tech side of things, and it's a really nice, we come together really well. But so I was originally in the Netherlands with the tech startup. It was acquired. I moved to Berlin to go to the corporate side of Zalando. I didn't think I would come back to startup life, but
I reeled you back.
I know, yeah. But it's really solving a problem that matters and a problem that I care about and that I've seen firsthand as being an executive leader of a lot of teams and myself personally. Yeah. So it's amazingly motivating to get up in the morning to be solving something that has such impact. We have a target, like our big, hairy, audacious goal, or BHAG it's called, to positively impact 1 million lives. And I think that's really been driving me, as well as love working with Arusha, yeah.
Absolutely.
You seem like an amazing team, and speaking about team, like are you looking for new people here, and would you look for them in The Hague, and is this a good place to find other people as well?
Yeah, for sure. First, we need to close some investment, and then, of course, our team. And we've come into contact with amazing talent here in The Hague. So yeah.
Yeah, we've got an amazing team. We will be looking soon, but hopefully before the end of the year, especially on the tech side of things.
Yes. For any developers out there.
Yeah. And
they
designers.
Should be, right? They should be. Of course they are. And who doesn't want to work with you? This seems like the perfect place to be. And I would be wondering, so on the entrepreneurial side as well, so you've talked about our work-life balance, and how do you feel about the Dutch culture and entrepreneurship? Do you feel that as a positive thing, or sometimes we've had other guests who say something like, there's also people who are maybe they are a bit hesitant at first, or.
I think it's the kind of perception of Dutch is, well, from an investment point of view, is a bit conservative, I would say.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, but everyone is very open to talking to us about Quan and how, like I've found, other than that, in terms of doing business, it's very easy. People are really open to new ideas, especially startups and scale-ups, where some of our first customers were Dutch scale-ups, quite amazing ones, who welcome this, which is quite a big thing, a team of 500 or so, and we're willing to have the right mindset of recognising this is important for their people, but also to go on the journey of learning with us and experimenting.
Yeah, and I think we've been speaking to investors both locally but also internationally.
Yeah.
And indeed, the feedback is the Dutch are a little bit more conservative. So that I think maybe has impacted us a little bit from being able to access some of the funds. And if I could think, if we could maybe tweak that a little bit better, then that'll help the entrepreneurs. But I know that a lot of people are working on that. But beyond that, what I do like is that we are not talkers. There's a lot of talk. And we've wasted many hours speaking to big talkers, and now we can sort of see through it. And I appreciate that with the Dutch culture.
It's very direct.
It's a lot more direct. And,
they'll tell you if they're not interested.
Exactly.
Or if they are.
And our most precious commodity is our time. So I do appreciate that. But if there was, the talk level is okay, but a little bit more, hey, you know what, let's just put some money to this. This could be something that would help. I think.
And I think on the flip side, it means we've had to really be well prepared.
Yeah.
To convince, because of this sort of conservative attitude, you have to build a really strong business case, which is very well prepared. Yeah. So we've spent, I would hate to estimate how many hours, but it means that it's well thought through, well prepared, and well structured, I would say.
And you were also saying, like, we're talking to international investors, so it is. Do you feel like the Netherlands is a good place to talk to international investors and travel and see?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of respect, I must say. So when we've spoken with investors in the US, in the Asia Pacific region, we talk about where we're based. There's an immediate connection also to the fact that we're impact led in The Hague. So that's been quite interesting. There is definitely an interest. Also, there's quite some great institutions close by. TU Delft later.
Yeah.
And that's recognised, that helps.
And even to add to that, the Netherlands in general, I mean, coming from Berlin and other places, such easy access with Schiphol and with the rest of Europe by either flying or by trains. And I think 90% of the Netherlands speak fluent English or something. That really matters, because it's much harder in Germany or in France.
It's the things that we tend to forget when you live here, how these kind of things are.
So it's such a good landing place for international startups.
And we did do our due diligence when we first began. We spoke to a couple of lawyers that were based in Luxembourg, and that was on the a suggestion of an ex CEO of a corporate accelerator who said, you might want to look at your different options on where to incorporate, right? So we did. And his advice straight up was, you're in the Netherlands, I wouldn't look any further. Luxembourg's great for some of the ones that are based in other countries. But, when it comes down to it, the laws will be in your favour. They're trying to stimulate innovation. They're trying to stimulate entrepreneurship, and we feel it firsthand.
Yeah, like even for where we would put our IP, for example. And the other thing the Netherlands has, which is great, which is a government initiative for tech companies, is something called the WBSO, where they discount tax for tech staff that are working on innovative tech solutions, which is fantastic. Yeah.
This seems like a perfect end for the conversation that we had. Thank you very much for being here. I really look forward to seeing the Wellbeing Index like everywhere. I think it's very important and very cool that you're doing this from The Hague. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.